If you thought the Caitlin Clark debate was cooling off, think again, because Cheryl Miller just stepped in with a flamethrower and completely shut it down. And let's be real, if there's anyone in women's basketball history with the authority to set the record straight, it's Cheryl freaking Miller. We're talking about the original basketball goddess, the player who dominated so thoroughly that she made women's basketball must-see TV before the WNBA even existed. She redefined the game, torched defenses, and put respect on women's hoops before social media debates were even a thing. Now let's rewind a bit. Cheryl Swoopes, yes, the Hall of Famer, three-time WNBA MVP, and one of the greatest players of all time, has been one of the loudest critics of Caitlin Clark. Whether it's about the hype Clark receives, her place in the league, or so-called unfair advantages, Swoopes has had plenty to say. And let's just say, she hasn't exactly been sipping from the Caitlin Clark fan club cup. Normally, when a WNBA legend speaks, people listen. But the problem? Swoopes' criticisms have started sounding less like analysis and more like gatekeeping. Instead of recognizing Clark as a generational talent, her comments have come off as bitter, outdated, and, dare I say, a little salty. That's where Cheryl Miller comes in, like a wrecking ball. In a recent interview that had fans losing their minds, Miller didn't just step into the Caitlin Clark debate, she bulldozed right through it. And while she didn't call out Cheryl Swoopes by name in a disrespectful way, she made it crystal clear that some people in the WNBA are missing the bigger picture. I can relate to that, young lady. I know what it's like to be hated. I know what it's like to be a black woman and hated because of my color. Yeah. I can't imagine what it's like for Caitlin Clark to be despised the way she is. But she's cocky for a reason. She's great, and I love that about her. Miller knows exactly what it feels like to be at the center of media narratives, to face criticism for simply being too good. She sees herself in Clark, and that speaks volumes. Miller didn't just defend Caitlin Clark. She exposed how weak the arguments against her really are. Because let's be honest, Miller isn't just another former player throwing opinions around. She was dominating defenders before Cheryl Swoopes even entered the picture. She played in an era where women's basketball had no WNBA, no NIL deals, no big contracts, and yet she still became a legend. So if anyone has the right to serve Cheryl Swoopes a reality check, it's Cheryl Miller. And let's not forget, Miller has shown Clark love before. A viral clip captured the moment when Caitlin Clark ran up to Cheryl Miller after a game. Miller hugged her, gave her some words of encouragement, and told her she played a great game. At a time when it felt like the entire world was against Clark, Miller was one of the few legends who publicly stood by her. Cheryl Miller made it clear, Caitlin Clark isn't just hype, she's delivering in real time. Swoopes and other critics seem stuck in the past, acting as if the game owes them something for the hardships they endured. But Miller, she understands that basketball is about who dominates now, not who suffered the most in the past. Embrace it. Because if you don't, you're holding the game back. The WNBA needed a superstar, and Caitlin Clark is delivering. Whether people like it or not, she's bringing more eyes, more money, and more attention to the league than anyone before her. Here's where it gets funny. After Cheryl Miller's interview went viral, Cheryl Swoopes suddenly got real quiet. The same Swoopes who had so much to say before, nowhere to be found. Cheryl Miller just put Swoopes in a blender and hit the power button. Swoopes thought she was the gatekeeper until Cheryl Miller kicked the whole gate down. Miller reminded everyone who the real boss is. When a true basketball queen speaks, everyone else takes notes. Now let's talk about why Miller's words carry so much weight. Before the WNBA, before women's college basketball was mainstream, before social media could amplify stars like Clark, she was so dominant that she didn't just play basketball, she transformed it. Scored 105 points in a single high school game, two-time NCAA champion, three-time Naismith College Player of the Year, four-time All-American Olympic gold medalist, dominated internationally with an undefeated 70-team USA record. And when a devastating knee injury cut her playing career short, she didn't stop shaping the game. Head coach at USC, one of the first female NBA sideline reporters, head coach GM of the Phoenix Mercury. Miller built the foundation for every woman who came after her, including Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark, the modern-day Cheryl Miller. Caitlin Clark isn't just great, she's once-in-a-generation great. Deep-range shooting, check. Elite court vision, check. Confidence, check. Ability to electrify crowds, double check. And here's the kicker. Everything people say about Clark today,
Now, let's
they said
rewind
about
a bit.
Miller first.
Cheryl Swoopes,
She's
yes,
changing
the Hall
women's
of Famer,
basketball.
WNBA
Miller did that
legend,
first.
and
She's making
three-time
people care
MVP
about
has
women's
been one of
hoops.
the loudest
Miller did that
voices
first.
throwing shade
She's drawing
at
massive
Caitlin
crowds.
Clark.
Miller did that
Cheryl
first.
Miller is not
Miller
about
sees herself in
excuses.
Clark,
She knows
and
talent
instead of
when she
tearing her
sees it,
down,
and she
she's
knows
embracing the
grind it
next
takes to be
generation.
great. Caitlin
That's
Clark
why when
isn't
Cheryl
some
Miller
overnight
speaks,
success. She's
people
a player
listen
who's
because
put in
she was the
work,
original
broken
women's
records,
basketball
and
superstar.
earned every
And when
bit
she
of her
validates
hype.
Caitlin
The fact
Clark,
that some
it's the highest
WNBA
praise
legends
possible.
don't want to acknowledge
Because real
that,
recognizes
that's on them.
real.
Miller
And
made it
Cheryl
clear
Miller,
Caitlin
she sees exactly who Caitlin Clark is because she was her decades ago. Cheryl Miller's legacy
Instead of
and why she has
Miller's
the authority to
message
speak.
was simple, embrace
Cheryl
it, because
Swoopes'
if you
criticism
don't, you're
and
just
why it
holding
comes
the
across
game
as
back.
gatekeeping. Cheryl Miller's defense of Caitlin Clark, a passing of the torch. The evolution of women's basketball. Why Caitlin Clark's
The
impact
same
matters.
Cheryl Swoopes who had so much
If
to
there's
say
one
before,
person in
nowhere
the
to be
history of
found.
women's
Fans
basketball
noticed too.
who has the
Social media
absolute
went
right to
crazy
set the
with
record
reactions.
straight,
People were
it's
saying
Cheryl
things like,
freaking Miller.
Cheryl Miller just
Before the
put Swoopes in a
WNBA
blender
even
and hit the
existed,
power button.
before women's
Swoopes thought
basketball
she
was
the
considered
gatekeeper
must-watch
until
television,
Cheryl Miller
was
kicked the whole
already
gate
rewriting
down.
the rules
Miller
of the game.
reminded
She wasn't just a great player. She was a force of
career at
nature,
multiple
a cultural
levels.
and athletic phenomenon
Tina
who made
Charles
the
just
world
had
pay
2
attention.
points against
Miller
She
was so
reminded the
dominant
world that
that even
basketball
today,
isn't about who's
decades
allowed to
after
shine,
her
it's
playing
about
career
who
ended,
puts in
her
the
name
work
still
and gets
carries
the job
legendary
done.
status.
Caitlin Clark is
She
here
didn't
to
just
stay.
score
And
points,
as far as
she
Cheryl
dismantled
Miller is
defenses
concerned,
with ease.
anybody still doubting.
She didn't
Her
just win
Swoopes,
games,
who the
she
real
elevated
boss
women's
is.
basketball
It's almost
to
like
a level
the
it had
reality
never
of
seen
the
before.
situation finally
Think
hit
about
when a
this.
true basketball
Cheryl Miller scored
queen speaks.
105
Everyone
points
else
in a
better
single
take
high
notes.
school game.
At the end of the day,
Let that
Cheryl
sink in.
Miller didn't just defend
That's the
Caitlin
kind of
Clark,
record
she
that
shut
sounds
down
like a
every
glitch in a
argument
video
that's
game.
been thrown at
She was
her.
named National Player of the Year twice, then
Caitlin
went on to
Clark
USC,
asked for the
where she
is
turned the
living in
program
past.
into a dynasty.
And to Cheryl Swoopes,
2 national
let's just say
championships,
she might want to
multiple
sit
Player
this
of the
one
Year
out
awards,
because
and a
Cheryl
college
Miller
career
just
that
gave her
left
an L she
zero
won't
doubt.
forget anytime
She was the
soon.
best
If
player
there's
women's
one woman in
basketball had ever
basketball
seen at
history
that
who
time.
deserves nothing but
And the scary
respect,
part,
it's Cheryl Miller.
we never
We're
even got to
talking
see
about
peak
one of the
Cheryl
most
Miller in the
dominant forces
WNBA.
to ever
Her
touch a
career was
basketball,
tragically
a
cut
player
short due
who
to a
changed
knee
the way the
injury,
game was
but that
played,
didn't stop
long
her from
before the world
influencing
was
the
ready
game.
to fully
She became a
embrace
coach,
women's
a
basketball.
broadcaster,
And here's the
and a
kicker.
pioneer
Cheryl
for
Miller
women in
sees
sports
something in
media.
Caitlin Clark
She was the
that
first
reminds
woman
her
to be a
of herself.
full-time
Because
NBA
make no
sideline
mistake,
reporter,
before Caitlin
paving the
Clark
way
was
for
out here
female
rewriting
analysts
the history
in a male-dominated
books.
industry.
Cheryl Miller had
So when
already
Cheryl
burned
Miller
them to
speaks about the
ashes.
state of women's
momentum
basketball
last season.
today,
She
everyone should
transformed it.
listen.
Before Miller even
Cheryl
stepped
Swoopes'
foot in
criticism
college,
and
she
why
was
it comes
already
across
leaving
as
defenders in
gatekeeping now.
shambles. Scored
Let's talk about
105
Cheryl Swoopes
points in a
and her
single high
criticism
school
of
game.
Caitlin
Yes, you
Clark.
read that right.
To be clear,
105
Cheryl Swoopes
points,
is a
named
WNBA
National High
legend,
School Player of the
3-time
Year
MVP,
twice. Was
4-time
so good
champion,
that she
the first player to ever be
immediately
signed
became
by
the
the
one recruit in the
WNBA.
country. Now,
Her
in
impact
an
on the
era
league is
where female
undeniable,
basketball
and her
players
legacy
were
as
barely
one of the
getting
game's
attention
all-time
they
greats
deserved,
is cemented.
Cheryl Miller
But
was
lately,
already
she's
a
been one of the
superstar.
loudest voices criticizing Caitlin Clark.
Cheryl Miller.
And let's be honest, it's starting to sound
Miller will
less
take
like
that shot
legitimate
all day.
critique and more like gatekeeping. Swoopes has
Most of the
repeatedly
second half,
questioned the
and
level
that
of
is when
attention
USC
Clark
has
is
made their-
receiving,
Ahead of her time,
implying
and
that
why
the
she
media
has an
hype surrounding
unmistakable
her is
appreciation
unearned
for Caitlin
or unfair.
Clark. Before
She's
there was
hinted
a
at the idea
WNBA,
that Clark is
before
being
women's
handed
college
opportunities that
basketball
others
became
before her
mainstream,
never
before
got.
social media
Now,
could
is there
amplify
truth to the
talent in
idea that
ways
the
we see
media
today?
didn't give
There was
past
Cheryl
women's
Miller. She
basketball
was so
stars the same
dominant,
attention?
so skilled, and so
Absolutely.
electrifying
Is
that she
Caitlin
didn't
Clark
just play
benefiting from a new
basketball
era
All-American
of social
because
media
when? Your
exposure,
Cheryl Miller,
NIL
one
deals,
All-American
and growing
nod isn't
WNBA
enough.
popularity?
First outstanding
Of course,
player of the
but is that Caitlin
NCAA
Clark's fault?
tournament because
Not at
when
all.
championships
What's
were on
happening
the line,
here
she
is a
played
classic
even
case
better.
of resentment
Scored
toward the next
3,018
generation
career points
instead
at
of
a time when the
appreciation
women's
for
three-point
progress.
line wasn't
Instead
even
of seeing
in
Clark's
play
rise
yet.
as
And if
something that
wasn't
benefits
enough,
all
she
women's
also
basketball
grabbed
players, Swoopes and others are framing it as some kind of injustice, and that's where Cheryl Miller stepped
she
in.
wasn't just a
When
scorer,
Cheryl Miller
she did it
spoke
all.
out in
Scott,
support of
and the
Caitlin
open
Clark,
shot goes
she
inside
wasn't
to
just
Sullivan,
defending a
has it
young
blocked on
player,
her.
she was defending the
Unclaimed block
evolution
by
of the game
USC.
itself.
1
Miller said
second.
she sees herself in Clark. She understands what it's like to be the most talked about player in the country, to have expectations that feel impossible to meet, to deal with criticism just for being too good. She even acknowledged that Caitlin Clark has brought some of the hate onto herself. Because let's be real, Clark is cocky and she backs it up. But as Miller pointed out, the way Clark is being treated in the media isn't just about trash talk or rivalries, it's something bigger. Miller shut down the idea that Clark's success is some kind of undeserved gift. She made it it clear that Clark has earned every bit of her hype through record-breaking performances, game-changing ability, and a relentless work ethic.
Guess what? She didn't
It doesn't matter how legendary Cheryl Swoopes or anyone else was in the past. The reality is that Clark is bringing more eyes, more money, and more excitement to women's basketball than anyone before her. Miller understands that instead of fighting it, the WNBA should embrace it. Let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Women's basketball is finally reaching a level of mainstream popularity that it has fought for decades to achieve. And Caitlin Clark, she's the catalyst. Record-breaking TV ratings for women's college basketball sell out crowds in every arena she plays, in merchandise sales, through the roof. A massive surge in interest for the WNBA draft.
And if anyone understands what that
Clark's
feels like,
rise isn't just about
Cheryl
her.
Miller. Think about
She's
it,
lifting everyone in the game. Because of the attention Clark is bringing, fans are also watching Angel Reese, Juju Watkins, Paige Bueckers, and future stars like Hannah Hidalgo and Dominique Malonga. They're learning about the history of women's basketball. They're investing in the sport in a way that wasn't happening before. This isn't just about one player getting more hype than another. This is about the future of women's basketball as a whole. And that's what Cheryl Miller understands better than anyone. At the end of the day, Miller's words weren't just a defense of Caitlin Clark. They were a wake-up call to everyone clinging to the past instead of embracing the future. Caitlin Clark isn't replacing the legends who came before her. She's building on their foundation. And the smartest thing the WNBA can do is support her, celebrate her, and use her success to push the game even further. Because as Miller made painfully clear, if you're trying to tear down Caitlin Clark, you're not just hurting her, you're holding back the entire sport. Cheryl Miller didn't just defend Caitlin Clark, she shut down every weak argument against her. Greatness isn't about who came first, it's about who's dominating now. Clark's impact is real, and the WNBA needs to embrace it. Not fight it. Instead of resenting the media attention Clark is getting, people should celebrate how far the game has come. And as for Cheryl Swoopes, well, let's just say that after Miller's comments, she might want to sit this one out. Because when the greatest women's basketball player of all time speaks, the debate is over. Caitlin Clark has arrived, and Cheryl Miller just gave her the ultimate stamp of approval.